I've just heard one of the most craziest and inspiring stories of my life. Machine guns, escaping from prisons, meth.
And I sat there on the edge of this cliff and I was just watching the ocean. And I was thinking, what is going on? Now I'm a fugitive.
When I first met Konrad, I thought, man, this is a big guy. And you look at him and you just see like someone who must have their shit together.
I was lucky enough to make the Tall Blacks my first year. I was dunking on dudes. Like I said, I was pretty athletic. And so I kind of took the league by storm.
You know, but to sit down and have this really open conversation about what he's going through now, what he's been through. I mean, this life that he's had, it should be in the movies. I mean, it's that crazy.
And just like in the movies, bro, like I'm walking out and all the inmates that are at yard come up to the chain link fence and they're all just eyeing you up. And I swear the CO turns around and goes, "Gentlemen, welcome to the pen."
Konrad said one of his biggest flaws was that he was always a follower. He always wanted to fit in.
When the club closed down, we went back to one of their houses, bro, and then out came the pipe.
With Konrad, he's at the beginning of his rebuild, and that's what's so exciting to me because we get to meet someone who's on, you know, the ground floor of the rebuild.
So I can allow myself to feel this right now and embrace it, bro, because this ain't nothing compared to what I've been through.
So if you're at the start of rebuilding your life, you know, from the ground floor up, you will find the story so inspiring. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Konrad Ross, enjoy. Unfiltered is produced by the team at Fanaticals, and we are part of the Acast network. Before the episode starts, I just ask for one favor, one thing only of you. If you're watching, 80% of people watching are not subscribed. So if I can ask for one thing, please hit the subscribe button. It enables us to keep growing and to keep showing these stories, to keep showing people that no matter where you start in life and what you're going through, it's possible. Thanks, team. Enjoy. Konrad, great to have you here, my brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for reaching out. And man, you said you were a former Tall Black when I met you. I said, man, you weren't wrong. You're tall.
Yeah, bro. Tall, 6'6", 6'7", yeah. But you know, that's pretty average for the old for the basketball players these days, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you still look in good shape.
Oh, cheers, brother. 56.
Yeah.
Still doing my best, holding it down, you know?
Yeah. How long did you play for the Tall Blacks?
So I played from 94 to 99.
Wow.
Yeah, for 6 years. Those are the only years that I played in New Zealand, were those years. And I stopped playing when I was still young. I was 29, bro. But I was still living in Hawaii.
We'll go back, just so people, premise for people watching. So Tall Blacks to spending 80 months in federal penitentiary over in America.
Yeah.
You know, I want to talk about that, but first, you know, where did you grow up in Hawaii?
So yeah, born here in New Zealand, and then at the age of 9, we moved to Hawaii as a family. And we moved to the big island of Hawaii, and we moved to this tiny little sugar plantation village, so to speak, called Pauilo. Population of maybe 600 people, tiny. All the houses there were owned by the plantation, so everyone that lived there worked for the plantation. And that's where I grew up, this tiny little village. And it was a massive transition at first because I was taller than everyone. I was white. I spoke funny. So I learned pretty quickly that I had to do whatever it took to kind of blend in and become accepted and fit in, because any sort of difference at that age, you know, kids can be brutal, man.
Yeah.
So it took me a little bit to get through that. I had lots of fights and I had to back myself, and you know, but I became pretty good at fitting in and becoming accepted, you know? And so, and I think that kind of carried on throughout my life, really, in the sense that I was always trying to remain accepted by everyone, because I was different. I was the minority now. I was a tall white kid that stood out. So so I spent a lot of my time trying to always fit in, and I did a really good job of it. I was really, really good at it. Yeah. And then so I lived there. I lived in Hawaii for 25 years, I think, all the way up until my 30s. Started playing basketball when I was 10. That was my first year, and we ended up going undefeated that year. 10 years old, we win every game. We didn't lose. We got trophies. It was the greatest thing ever. So I was hooked from that. You know, from then on, I was hooked already. Yeah. So that kept on playing, and then high school came around.
What was the name of the high school?
Honoka'a High School, yeah. And so, in its 99 years of existence, it had never won the island championships.
Wow.
But my senior year, we kicked everyone's ass.
Wow.
And we won it. But it was just amazing, bro. It was just a storybook. We had all this amazing following. The whole community was behind us. So Yeah, it was a big deal.
What was the dream then? Was the dream to carry on and be a professional basketball?
I didn't really have that dream at that time. My dream was to be the MVP of that season, which I was. So I kind of achieved my dream and didn't really put much thought to anything after that, really. But then I ended up reaching out to a few colleges because my coach had, he had kind of persuaded me and said, hey, look, you need to go on and play some college ball. So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. So I put together a highlight tape and sent it out to a few schools. And all the schools I sent the tapes out were interested in me. And I ended up getting a scholarship from a small NAIA school in Oregon called Linfield College. And I ended up making the varsity team, and I started every game I played in college, which was pretty lucky.
Wow.
Had a pretty good college career. Led the team in scoring, I think, my junior, senior year. We made it to the playoffs every year. Senior year, I was all conference, all district, and I was also an All-American, which was a pretty cool accomplishment. I think at the time I was probably the only basketball player from the Big Island to ever go on to college and become an All-American. So that was pretty cool. So whenever I'd come back home to Hawaii, everyone knew who I was.
Yeah.
I was Konrad, the basketball player. Obviously my home community, everyone knew me and looked up to me, and so that felt, that was amazing. And then I ended up having a tryout with a CBA team back then. The CBA is what's now the G League, the developmental league of the NBA.
There's like a feeder.
The feeder league, yeah.
Yep.
And so that was up in Washington. So I had this tryout. And that was an eye-opening experience, bro. These dudes were thoroughbreds, brother. They came from, the roster was like Georgetown, Syracuse, Michigan, Louisville.
How was that, bro, coming from being like the main thing, the main man?
So I was the only guy on that roster that wasn't a Division I NCAA player. I was the only white guy. It was all brothers and me. It was 18 guys trying out for 10 spots. And I was pretty athletic, right? So I was usually always one of the most athletic guys on the court whenever I played. But these dudes was like a whole nother level, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, these guys were freaks. So that was a step up. Yeah, hard up.
I remember going and playing for Manly, which is like I got signed to Manly, which is an NRL club over in Australia. And I got signed because it's who you know.
Yeah.
And I live with a guy called Les Boyd, played for his team, country footy, bush footy. And I go along to the first train. I know exactly what you mean. I was 27, which is rare. That's old to go and be, to go and get a contract for the NRL. And I'm looking around and I'm competing against prop forwards. Some the big guy runs forward, and I'm competing against props that can run like centers and pass like halfbacks. So athletic. And all I had back then, after having about 9 knee operations at that point, was I could run hard and straight. That's it.
Yeah.
I could offload the ball. I had a
yeah.
good work rate, and I was like, man, this is going to be tough to crack into this team.
Yeah, it's eye opening.
Yeah.
I mean, it took me like 2 trainings to get a rebound, bro.
Wow.
And it was just like, I was like, what? And then I got dunked on for the first time, multiple times. I was like, holy smokes, these dudes. But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
But I got cut on the final cut, so I didn't quite make the team. And then I'd been talking to this guy, John Taylor from Hamilton. He had found out about me somehow, and he had been in contact with me for a few years, and he had wanted me to come down here and play in the NZBL. So it kind of came down to either that or I was talking to a team in Mexico. But Mexico sounded like a little bit shady. It's just a little sketchy, because apparently some of the cartels ran some of the teams, and sometimes the payments weren't on time, yada, yada. So I was like, oh, I'll come down to New Zealand.
Yeah.
So that was my first year. I came down and played for Waikato in '94.
Talk to us about all that, bro. What was that experience like coming home?
That was buzzy. So coming from what I had come from, collegiate basketball in the States, coming down to here in the 90s, it felt like a step backwards in the sense of, the coaching, just that sort of stuff. New Zealand's was a bit behind as far as basketball goes. I was like a third American almost coming to, because I was still a New Zealander, right? I still have my New Zealand citizenship. So I kind of hit the scene running, bro. Like, no one knew who I was, and then all of a sudden I was like this new Kiwi kid, and I was was killing it. I averaged like 20 plus points a game. I was dunking on dudes. Like I said, I was pretty athletic. And so I kind of took the league by storm, so to say, you know?
Yep.
Ended up being, I think I was Rookie of the Year or New Zealand Player of the Year that year. And I was lucky enough to make the Tall Blacks my first year. They went on a tour to Japan. And Peter Pokai had broken his leg the weekend before they left. So I got the call up to go meet the boys up in Japan. So flew up to Japan, met the boys. They taught me the haka for the first time.
What was that like?
That was mean, bro.
Yeah,
that was mean. So the first time I did the haka, bro, in front of a crowd, in front of Japan.
Yeah.
Bro, I was so pumped. I didn't grow up with that, so I'd missed out on all of that, right, as a kid. So that was my first experience, and I was like, holy smokes.
Yeah. Feel the mana.
Bruh, feel the mana. I couldn't sit down, bro. I wasn't starting, right? I had to go to the bench. I was like, bro, I can't sit down right now. I'm pumped.
Yeah.
So that was cool. So, and then we did really well on that tour. We smoked Japan. We beat them 4 out of 6 games. And I think that was the first time that we had won a series overseas for the Tall Blacks. And I want to say that was kind of the beginning of the Tall Blacks. We started to do quite well after that, you know?
Yeah.
And that kind of fed into 2004 when they got 4th, I think, in the world in 2004.
Far out.
But that was the beginning of the momentum, you know.
Who was the best Kiwi player that you played with?
Oh, the best Kiwi player I played with. Well, I played with all of them. I played with Kōrero, I played with Phil Jones, I played with Kirk Penny, Byron Vaitoi, Glenn Denham, you know, all the boys. Yeah.
And so you played with the Tall Blacks, but when did things start going
pear-shaped?
Pear-shaped.
I played with the Tall Blacks till 99, and then I went back to Hawaii. The exchange rate had plummeted, bro. So I was coming here, getting paid to play ball here. I was getting paid in New Zealand dollars. Right?
Yeah. Next to nothing.
So I'd save my money and I'd go back home to Hawaii in the off season, and I'd get like a cruisy job down at the resorts, pool attendant, lifeguard, whatever. I'd work at the beach or at the pool. I mean, that was a pretty cruisy existence. It was unrealistic, bro. Didn't prepare me for anything really.
Yeah.
But in '99, the exchange rate had plummeted to 38 cents to the dollar. So yeah, like 2/3 of my money was gone when I went back home. And then my daughter was born. I had a daughter. So, and by then I didn't really have that same fire anymore to play. It just I had lost that fire, and I was just like questioning whether I should keep playing or not. So I decided not to. I couldn't really justify it to myself anymore, which sucked because 2000 was the 2000 Olympics, where we finally could get in because Australia was the host country. and I was supposed to come back and try out for the TBs then, but I would have to have bought my own ticket. I would have to find a job back here, accommodation, because back then they didn't pay us. You know, and my daughter was born, and I just couldn't really justify it. So I decided I'm done. I was still quite young. I was 29, and so I ended up I had to go get a real job. I ended up working for my dad. He had a scrap metal yard, and so I was working there doing the scrap metal and the green waste. And like I said, up until then, my life had been pretty cruisy, bro. I was playing ball for a living, which came easy to me. I was good at it. You know, I was physically gifted. I didn't really have to work too hard to maintain, that level. And then I'll come home and I'll work some cruisy job in the resort. So I didn't have good work ethic. I didn't really have, and like this real world stuff kind of sucked, bro.
You're like living a dream.
Yeah, I was living a dream, but didn't realize I was, until I got thrust into the real world. I was like, whoa, this sucks. Anyway, and then I ended up going out one night, and I bumped into these guys that I had known, and we were partying, and then when the club closed down, we went back to one of their houses, bro, and out came the pipe, and so they was passing around the pipe, and like I said earlier, when I was younger, I was always, whatever anyone was doing, I was doing it. To fit in, to be accepted. And so I think that just still carried over for me. So I was like, oh yeah, what else? Get high, start puffing. Obviously I go home, I can't sleep. next day, Sunday. I can't sleep Sunday night either. I'm like, bro, I got to go to work in the morning on Monday. I better get some more. How else am I going to go to work, you know?
Yeah.
So I end up getting some more. I get high again, go to work. Oh, now all of a sudden work is, this isn't too bad. I'm motivated.
That's what a friend
I'm confident.
That's what a friend of mine said. You know, he'd use it to get through work.
Work was almost enjoyable, bro, because I had this new motivation or whatever, right? So that kind of went on for that first week. That's kind of how it happened. And then I ended up being just stuck in this cycle, right? And that's how my addiction started. Addiction. And I became full-blown addicted.
Crack.
Meth. So, and that whole motivation, I'm motivated, I'm confident, and that only lasts for a period of time. Yeah. then it becomes foggy, bro. Yeah. You know? It just becomes a bit dysfunctional. So, and I was working at this scrap metal yard, bro, where like people were dropping off abandoned cars and all this stuff. It was like tweaker's paradise, bro.
Yeah.
I'll be high and I'll start going through a car, like finding speakers and next thing you know, like we've got cars stacked up on top of each other. I'm like 6 cars up, feet out the back window, bro. I'm tearing up the carpet, just looking for, don't know what I'm looking for, but you know what I mean? I'm running amok. Yeah. I'm running amok, bro. And I'm working for my dad. And my dad's workers.
Dad start noticing this?
No, my dad's not there because he's running 2 yards, but he's got his other guys working there, right? His friends, old timers, good dudes. But they're in this tough situation where I'm the boss's son. I'm way bigger than them, you know. They don't know what to do or what to say. So they don't say anything. They kind of let me go. Yeah. And I'm running amok, bro, you know? Anyway, it takes 6 months, and I end up quitting that job because I kind of realized I was embarrassing my dad. I got to the point where I realized I'm fucking up big time, you know? Yeah. And then I lost my apartment, and then I lost my girl and my daughter. They left as well. Yeah. Car broke down, bro, and I'm on the side of the road hitchhiking, bro. I'm all sucked up, I'm skinny, hitchhiking. Konrad Ross, the basketball star, hitchhiking, you know? Fall from grace, hard out. But that still wasn't enough I still couldn't stop, bro. I was just caught up in this loop, you know? Like I couldn't stop. And it got to a point where I became somewhat functional of a drug addict. So like you said, I would need the drugs to go to work, to make the money, to buy the drugs, so I could go to work.
Yeah.
So I could make the money to buy, you know?
Yeah.
I'm basically just working so I can get high, so I can go to work, so I can get high.
That's a crazy cycle.
Yeah, bro. And that only lasts for so long. All it takes is something to go wrong, and all of a sudden I don't have any drugs. If I don't have any drugs, I can't go to work. So I'd lose the job. I'd end up losing my job, and you know. So I'll go through this roller coaster, bro, where I would lose everything. I'd be homeless at times, sleeping in my car, sleeping on people's couches. Then I'd build myself back up again to where I'll get a place, or you know. And I'll be working, and then eventually I'll mess it all up again because, you know, just.
So you can't get clean for a bit. Then
I wouldn't really get clean. I was still using, but I was just, yeah. And it was just this roller coaster, but it was so hard work, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were times where I did try and get clean, but I just couldn't do it, bro. You know, when you're in the grips of addiction, bro, especially with meth, it's kind of. It robs you of all the things, all the qualities, and all the, you know, your integrity, your self-belief, your self-confidence, your morals, your values, all the things that you really need to dig deep and grab a hold of to get you out of this addiction isn't there anymore, bro. You're just a shell of you know, you're a shell of the person that you once was. And so to get yourself out of that situation when you're that deep, I didn't know how to do it, bro.
Yeah, just when you talk about the shell, you know, I remember getting a phone call from a good friend of mine early in the morning. Dave, I need your help. I need some money. And he's going through meth addiction. He's clean now. So I turn up to this gas station to give him some money, and he rings me and said, where are you? I said, I'm here. So I'm not coming to you. You get out of your fucking car and you come here to me. He said, I can't. I said, I've been butted over there with a gun. So, fuck. So I get there, sure enough, he's got blood all over his face. I give him the money. Who knows what it's for? But it was just like you explained, I'm looking at the shell of my friend.
Shell, bro, yeah.
It wasn't him anymore.
Yeah.
And it was heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's hard. And like, even the love for my daughter wasn't enough for me to pull myself out of it, you know? And there were times where I tried. Like I would take whatever money I had and buy a bunch of groceries and then just go crash out at my dad's house or whatever and just try and sleep it off or, you know what I mean, get through the worst of it. But I was never able to do it, you know? And then it got to the point where I wasn't really working. So I tried dealing. I tried selling it to pay for my habit, you know? And that was just another roller coaster as well, where, you know, one day I'd be the man because I had the baggie, and then something would go wrong. I was a terrible dealer, bro, to be honest.
Well, you know, you can't get high off your own supply.
Yeah, bro. And I was my best client, you know what I mean?
Famous NWA line, you know?
Yeah, I was my best client for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it wouldn't take much for the wheels to fall off in that sense, and I'd lose everything again. And then I remember there was a time where, you know, I was the man. I had the big baggie, and then something went wrong. I kind of lost it all, and I couldn't even get anyone to come over and bring me a pack of ciggies, bro, because I didn't have a bag. Crazy. You know, and I was like, this is all so fake and ingenuine, and you know, I hated it. And so that went on for a while, and then the wheels started to really fall off. Like things started to snowball. I started getting arrested for different things here and there, and. Bro, I'm 6'6", bro. Everyone knows who I am. You know, I couldn't get away with anything, brother. And it gets to the point where you realize that my whole day consisted of illegal activity. Like either I'm trying to get rid of the gear or I'm trying to get the gear.
Yeah.
Either I'm receiving stolen goods or I'm actually stealing things to get the gear, you know?
It's crazy,
so
bro?
Crazy,
the spiral,
bro.
like where when you think where you came from, good home,
mate.
And then like.
And I'm doing stuff that's so far from my character.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm just caught up in this cycle, bro. And I'm caught up in this darkness, bro. It's just dark, bro. You know? And I used to say desperate times call for desperate measures. So and there were times where I didn't want to be homeless again, so I'll do some, you know, I'll burglarize a house or do whatever I felt like I had to do in order to get some money or, you know, get some gear or whatever it was. You know, so I was starting to do some really dumb things. And so things started to compound a bit, and I got arrested a few times and got charged with a few things. And then I remember they picked me up again. They picked me up again because I had missed a court date or something. Yeah. And so this was in Honaka'a. So they took me down to the Honaka'a station, and they had me in the holding cell. And I can hear the cop, and I know the cop. Everyone knows everybody. So I know the cop, and I can hear him on the telephone. And he's talking to somebody, and he's like, "Yep, yeah, no, sir, we got him right here. We have him in custody, sir." And he's like, you know, kissing this guy's ass on the phone. I'm like, who the hell are they talking to? And it's obviously about me. So he gets off the phone, and I'm like, Brian, who the hell were you talking to? He goes, oh, that was immigrations, bro. That's immigrations. Tomorrow they're coming to get your ass. You're out of here. And I was like, what? You out of here, bro. So I was like, damn. So all I can think of then is my daughter, like, damn. Because, you know, I knew I wasn't a citizen, right? So, and I knew that I could be deported if, you know. But I didn't understand in that moment that they couldn't deport me. I had to be convicted. I hadn't been convicted of anything yet, right? I had charged it, but I hadn't been convicted. But this guy told me that they're coming to get me and I'm gone. So I'm just like, oh, so all I can think about is my daughter. I can't say goodbye to my daughter. She's like six at this time, or 7. Anyway, they cuffed me up. They chucked me in the back of the car, and they're going to transport me all the way to Hilo, which is the main cell block where they do all the processing and they hold you before you go to court. It's about an hour's drive, and you go through different districts. And at the end of each district, they pull over and they hand you over to the cops from that district, you know, and so on and so on. Well, they chucked me in the car, and we're pulling out of the parking lot. And before we even get out of the parking lot, bro, I just snapped my restraints. behind my back.
Shit.
So now I'm in the cop car and I'm thinking, oh shit, I'm free. You know? And I'm thinking, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And I'm just running through the scenarios in my brain. Fuck, if I'm getting deported, if I'm out of here, then fuck, I've got nothing to lose, bro. I just want to say goodbye to Taylor. I'm sweating. Yeah. I'm nervous as, but I got to keep pretending like I'm handcuffed. Anyway, we get to the first drop-off point, and I'm surveying the land, you know. There's a big hill on one side, another big hill on the other side. There's a big bridge in front with a big steep gulch. So I know the area. I'm like, no, this isn't the place. I can't do anything here. So they open the door. I pretend like I'm still handcuffed. I step out of the car. They put me into the next one. Okay, close the door. And we're going again. And I'm sizing up the two cops, right? I like, okay, the passenger, he's too old. He's overweight. He's not a problem. The driver, oh, I remember this dude. I used to play basketball against him. Yeah. He's still in shape. Yeah. He might be able to catch me if I do a runner. I'm thinking, I'm going to do a runner, bro. Yeah. I got nothing to lose. Anyway, we get to the next drop-off point, and it's lit, it's flat. There's a road that goes off the highway that goes down. I know where I'm at. I know where that road goes. I'm like, fuck, if it's going to happen, this is it. I just told myself, whatever you do, don't hit the cops. Just make a clean break. So they open the door, I step out and just take off running. I leave my flip-flops right there on the road, and I'm running. This is the first time I've ran in like 6.5 years since playing ball. I haven't ran at all. Yeah. So I'm sprinting, and the young one's after me. Stop! And I'm just like, bro, just give me 2 days, bro. Just give me 2 days. He's like, stop or I'll shoot. Stop or I'll shoot. So I'm like, I gotta turn around. And he doesn't have his gun out. He's just reaching for his gun, and I see a driveway, a dark driveway. It's night. It's just gone nighttime. Yeah. Dark. And I just turn down this driveway, bro. And I get to the end of the driveway. I jump over this gate into this paddock. And I run through the paddock, and I go into this forest. And by now I'm hobbling, bro, because my legs are just jello, you know? I hobble into the forest, and I just lay in the bushes, bro. Try and catch my breath. I'm just so out of breath because, like I said, it's the first time I've ran in so long. And I just closed my eyes and I just lay there and I said, if this is meant to be, I won't get caught. And if it's not meant to be, they'll catch me. I lay there for like 10 minutes. Everything kind of settled. I didn't hear anything. Came up. They were gone, but I got away. I escaped. It was a full moon night, bro, so I could actually see. So I walked all the way through the forest down to the ocean on the cliffs. And I sat there on the edge of this cliff, and I was just watching the ocean. And I was thinking, what is going on, bro? Now I'm a fugitive, you know? I've just ran from the cops. Mm. Yeah, so I'm sitting on the edge of this cliff. I'm overlooking the ocean, and I'm just thinking, what am I going to do now? Anyway, so I make my way back up through the forest.
But in that moment, yeah, I've had moments like that. Yeah. In that moment, was running through your head like this is enough. Like, how the fuck did I get here?
I was like, I've gone deep. I've gone to another level now. Now I'm deep in it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, and I think in that moment I was more concerned what am I gonna do now? You know?
Yeah, because I remember
where to now? Like what?
Yeah, I've had that moment laying in a bath. I should just fucking drown myself. Like
I had those moments later on when I was in my cell, like when I was when I was locked up. I was like, how the hell did this happen? Anyway, so I end up walking. I make my way back through the forest and up to the highway, and I check, and the cops are gone. There's no one there, bro. They've all just left. So I make my way up to this house. It's the only house that I knew in that area, and I knew it because. One of my friend's granddad lived there. I'd never met his granddad before, but I'd been to the house because, I'd been there before with my mate. I end up knocking on this guy's door, and he answers the door. And bro, like I've still got, because they use those real big zip ties to restrain me. Yep. So I still got one zip tie around one wrist. One's broken and hanging off. I take my tank top off. I wrap it around my wrist so you can't see the zip ties. I'm wet. I got no shoes on. He answers the door. I'm like, oh, excuse me, sir, can I please use your phone? I know your grandson, Michael, you know, I bought a truck from him. I'm broken down the road. He's like, oh, yeah? You look suspect as. But he lets me in, lets me use the phone. I call up my girlfriend. I'm like, babe, you got to come pick me up. She's like, what have you done? I was like, I ran. She's like, oh my God. And I said, you gotta come pick me up. This is where I'm at, la, la, la. And then I get off the phone and he's just looking at me. And I can just tell he's just like, what's going on? And I was like, I didn't break down, bro. I've just ran from the cops, bro. I'm sorry. I'm not dangerous. I'm just really, really scared. You know, I just came clean to him, bro. Yeah. And I felt I owed him the respect at least to just be truthful with him. And he looked at me and was like, do you want a beer? I was like, yeah, I'll have a beer. Anyway, so I have a beer. I'm on my way, and my girlfriend comes and picks me up. And that's when I realized, what have I done? That ended up being a terrible decision. I got charged with escape. I ended up on the other side of the island because I couldn't go say goodbye to my daughter. I was on the news that night, bro. You know what I mean? I was on the news that night, escape, fugitive. Couldn't go anywhere near my daughter. So I ended up on the other side of the island. I bleached my hair blonde, which was ridiculous. I'm 6'6".
Now you got bright blonde hair.
Now it's like a beacon. It's drawing more attention to myself.
Yeah.
So I end up turning myself in probably 5 days later, right? I get charged with escape. Anyway, I end up, I bail out at some point, and then it kind of gets to the point where I just get so sick and tired of my life, bro, and the struggle. And I remember I told my girlfriend, I said, I'm over this, bro. I'm so done. I just want to go somewhere where I don't know anybody and just try and get clean. So we packed up all our stuff into our 2 vehicles, and we drove to the other side of the island where I didn't really know anyone. I knew there was one guy, and he was going to let me crash at his place. He lets us crash on his floor. He doesn't do gear, which I'm thankful for. So I'm crashing at his house. I've got a job lined up in a couple weeks. I just got to make it to the job, get a few paychecks under my belt, and I can find a place to live, and I'm sweet. But I'm trying to get clean.
Yeah.
The cops raid his house because he was an old-time grower from back in the day, and they got reports that he was growing again, and so they raid his house while I'm there.
Yeah. So
they take us all in. I've got all my stuff in my car, all my belongings, which included some hunting rifles, some unregistered hunting rifles.
So do you for that as well?
So I'm in the holding cell, right? And I'm telling myself, because the car's not in my name, I'm like, not my house, not my car, not my guns. Not my house, not my car, not my guns. And the next day they pulled me up to the interrogation room and they introduced themselves and they're ATF. I'm like, well, you guys are feds. They're like, yeah, we're feds. Which I didn't understand why at the time, why the feds were involved, because this was just a regular sort of case. But I'd always heard that the federal system was way better than the state system.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be locked up, it's better to be locked up in the feds. So as soon as they told me they were the feds, I was just like, yeah, those are my guns, it's my car. I think I was just so sick of my life at that point. And bro, like I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror, bro, for about 3 years. Like I hated myself.
Was that what was the rock bottom through all that, bro? What was the time where you said, this is enough?
Like I always knew in the back of my mind that I was messing up big time. I always knew. Like I'd never lost sight of the fact that, bro, you're messing up big time. What are you doing, bro? What are you doing? But it still wasn't enough for me to actually pull myself out of it.
Yeah.
But at least I knew that, and I recognized in some people that they might not be knowing that.
Yeah.
And that's when you could be you're farther gone or too far gone. I don't know. But I always kind of knew I was messing up. And I don't know what it was, but I was just tired, bro. I was just sick and tired of that lifestyle. I was sick and tired of the person I'd become. Like I said, I could barely look at myself in the mirror. I just, I didn't like myself, bro. Mm. And so in that moment, it was like a cry for help. I was like, look, yeah, those are my guns, bro. I've got a problem. I'm an addict. I need help. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, thank you for telling us the truth. We'll do all we can to help you, yada, yada, yada.
Yep.
Yeah, that never happened. So they found an empty ice pipe and they found my guns. So they charged me with a user of a controlled substance and the possession of a firearm. I already had state charges, the escape and a few other charges, but now I've got new federal charges while I was out on bail. Jeez. So they take me to the federal detention center on Oahu. And the federal system, when it comes to sentencing in the federal system, it's they've got guidelines. They've got this chart that are guidelines for sentencing for the judge.
Yeah.
So along the top, you got criminal history, and then down the side, you've got offense level, what your offense is, and your criminal history. And then you go through, and that's your guidelines for what you're going to be sentenced. So your criminal history plays a massive role in how long you're going to do.
Yeah.
I hadn't had any convictions up until this point. So I went back to the state for my state charges, and I said, hey, can you guys please postpone my sentencing until I do my federal sentencing because it's going to affect my sentence. And they said, nah, you were out on bail. You went out and got new federal charges. We're going to sentence you today. And that's it. They gave me an open 5, which is anywhere from 0 to 5 years, depending on what the parole board wants to do. And open 5.
Yeah.
Back to the feds. Now all of a sudden I've got criminal history. So now I was looking at 1 year. Now I'm looking at possible 3 years. It's just doubled my federal sentence, which I end up getting. I end up getting 3 years, which I couldn't believe it. I was like, 3 years? Like, what? You know?
What was it like serving there, bro? Serving the time in there?
The first night is just, the first few nights are a blur because I'm coming off of the drugs. I just sleep, bro. You know, I sleep. I think it was more so 5 months down the track, bro, when I became completely sober, you know, and I got, everything came back. My emotions, everything. I was able to feel things like properly for the first time. And then I had to sit with myself and sit with all the things that I'd done when I was on drugs and when I was that shell of who I was, you know? And I did some bad stuff, you know? And that was difficult. Coming to terms with those things, you know? And, but also super powerful. You know, there'd be times I'd be laying on my bunk and then a memory would come to me. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
I hate it when that happens.
What a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I had to learn to accept it. I had to learn to acknowledge it. And then I had to somehow learn to forgive myself for it, which is a process. It doesn't, it's hard.
That's a really important part of healing, right? And
Massive.
Forgiving yourself.
Massive. And that is that carries on till this day.
Yeah.
You know, but it's hard to do. It's hard to look at yourself honestly, because some of the things you're gonna see is not gonna be pretty, bro. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but I had to do that in order for me to heal and to move forward. And so I remember, and those moments happened a lot, you know, because I kept getting these memories like, oh my God, I did that. Yeah. What a piece of shit. But powerful in the same way, you know. Now in Hawaii, they don't have a federal prison. They have a detention center. And once you get sentenced, they designate you to a prison over in the mainland, right? Mm. They don't tell you where you're going, but they tell you when you've been designated. You've been designated, and so you could fly out any week now. So what they'll do is on a Friday night, they'll read out a list of names. You guys are leaving in the morning. So you'd fly out first thing in the morning. You fly up to San Bernardino in California. That's the hub. You go there and you sit there for anywhere from a month to 2 months before you actually go to your destination. And we're on regular airlines, bro, handcuffed and shackled, but they put us on the plane first in the back seats, you know, last to leave, and they walk us out to the tarmac. And there's a paddy wagon there waiting for us to jump in the paddy wagon. They chuck us in the paddy wagon, and the paddy wagon, bro, is like, it's got a big steel divide in the middle of it, so there's just like a bench on one side, a bench on the other side with a big steel wall in between. So when I got in, like my knees are up against the steel, I'm cramped up like this, and then they close it up, and it's just, there's no windows, there's nothing. I was like, oh. Hey, CO, can you open the door, bro? I'm having a panic attack, bro. I'm panicking. He's like, no. No, you'll be all right, bro. I'm like, fuck. I'm like freaking out. Claustrophobia. Yeah. Anyway, that's about an hour and a half drive. We get to San Bernardino. I'm stuck there for about a month. They put me in D block. D block is single-man cells. They're like half cells. So I'm in my little cell. I can touch the wall, the opposite wall from my bed. I can barely do a push-up. That's how little room there is in this cell. And I'm in there 23 hours a day. They let us out for 1 hour just to walk the tier, to have a shower, and that's it. Because of my escape charge. That escape haunted me, bro. It followed me everywhere I went.
Yeah.
It was such a bad decision. Anyway, so I'm stuck there for about a month, and then they call your name out, Ross. You're leaving in the morning. La la la. So they've got us in this big cell right before we jump on the bus, and there's probably like 50 of us in this room. And the CO comes in, he goes, "Who's Ross?" So I'm like, "Oh, yeah, right here." He goes, "Come here. We got to put the black box on you." I was like, "What?" It's a black box. So you're handcuffed. You got a bit of movement in your wrists and all that with your handcuffs. Well, the black box goes over the handcuffs and just locks your wrists in place.
Oh, man.
So you got no movement. You know, you can't move your wrists at all. You're just locked in. Freaking escape. So now I'm on the black box. I'm the only one, bro, out of 50. I'm like, damn. Chuck us in the bus.
You might feel that movie. Remember that movie? Ever seen that movie Con Air?
Yeah. So this is so.
Where they bring in that psycho, and he's like caged up from everyone else.
We're just like we're on the Grey Goose, bro, like the gray prison bus, just like in the movies. And they load us into the bus, and I sit down, and bro, it's so tight that my wrists are like in pain, and I can't move, and I start having another panic attack. I'm like, oh my God. Stand up, shuffle my way to the front. "Hey, CO, can you please just loosen this a bit, bro? It's way too tight, bro, and I'm having a panic attack." He's like, "No, sit your ass back down." "All right, thank you." Idiot. Shuffle back to my seat. And that trip we're on that bus for like 12 hours. Instead of going straight to up to Victorville, we go back down to LA, and we visit all these other prisons, drop people off, pick people up. So I'm on the bus for 12 hours, black boxed. By the time we get to the prison, bro, I'm fritted. But we pull up to the first prison, and so we've gone to Victorville. There's several facilities in Victorville, which is up in the Inland Empire, it's in the desert, brother. So we pull up to the first spot. They call out a bunch of names. All the guys get off. They open the front door. They all walk in. I'm like, oh, that doesn't look too bad. Pull up to the second spot, same thing, call out a bunch of names, they all get off, walk through the front door. I'm looking around, there's like 5 or 6 of us left. Where the hell are we going? We pull up, gun tower, massive electric fans, like a big gate. We drive in, gate closes behind us, there's another big gate in front of us. They got mirrors under the bus, there's barrels out of the gun towers. I'm like, what the hell is this? Open up, driving. There's an electric fence. There's so many fences and walls. We get in, and there's another big gate. And we pull into the celly-port, and they close it. And I swear the CO turns around and goes, "Gentlemen, welcome to the pen." I'm like, what? I think there's been a mistake. You know what I mean? I've only got 3 years, bro. It's my first time. Why am I at the pen? The pen is the high security penitentiary.
Yeah.
Take us in. They give us our bed rolls. They process us. They do that. They ask you who you run with. I was like, well, I'm from Hawaii, bro, so I run with the Islanders. They're like, oh, okay, Islander. Any gangs? I'm like, nah, I'm not in a gang. Okay, who do we contact in case you get, death or something? I was like, death? They're like, bro, these guys don't play in here, bro. They give me the rundown. You still doing drugs? I'm like, no, I don't do drugs. Good, because if you run up any sort of debt, these guys don't play. You're going to leave here looking like a sprinkler. I was like, what? Okay. Give you your bedroll. They send you out into the yard to go to your unit. You're in unit 3B. Off you go. So you come walking out, and just like in the movies, bro, like I'm walking out, and all the inmates that are at yard come up to the chain link fence, and they're all just eyeing you up.
Like, what was that?
I'm just like, what the? Later on, I realized that they're looking to see if they know anyone, right? But I don't know that. I'm fresh fish, bro. They're just sizing me up. I'm like,
were they saying fresh fish?
But it was intense, bro. It was heavy, It was heavy as. And then I walk to my unit, and I walk in, and I'm standing there, and like these white dudes start coming up, introducing themselves. Hey, what's up? What's up, man? I'm Evil. I'm like, hey, oh, what's up, Evil? Hey, what's up? I'm Little John. I'm like, hey, what's up, Little John? All right. And then the CO comes up, and I'm waiting for him to give me a cell. And I hear one of the white guys tell the CO, hey, CO, we don't have any white cells left. I was like, oh, I said, oh, no, I'm not white. I'm an islander. And they're like, oh, fuck. They all walk off. Oos, you homie. There's one Samoan guy in the whole unit, you know?
Yeah. They look after you when you're in there, the Islanders, on the boys?
Yeah, we were pretty cool. We probably had the smallest car in the prison, so we probably only had like 16 guys, bro. There's 1,500 inmates.
Jeez.
Yeah, this prison was out the gate, bro. It's a high security penitentiary. All the lifers, all the violent crims are there, right? All the gangs, bro. Bloods, Crips, Latin Kings, Aryan Brotherhoods, Nazi Lowrider, everything. Sureños, it's full on, bro. I grew up in Hawaii. I don't know anything about this. This is heavy. I post up outside my cell. I put my chair outside my cell. I just have my back to the wall for like the first few months. I'm just like observing stuff, you know?
How did you get educated on the jail politics?
So the homeboys, they explain the politics to you, and the politics were a good thing because it kind of kept things somewhat orderly, you know. Yeah. So like, if I had a problem with somebody, and they were from a different race, like I couldn't just take it out. I couldn't just take it into my hands and call the guy out and get into a fight. I'd have to go to my shot caller, tell him, hey, that dude was disrespectful. He said some stuff to me that, I'm not happy with. I want to have a fade with him. And he'd have to go to his shot caller. It'd have to be all sanctioned pretty much.
Far out.
You know? And guys were getting butchered every week, bro. Guys were getting stabbed up every week, bro. It was vicious, bro. They would have inmates, they would be on this cleanup crew, blood cleanup crew. And you'd hear, can we get the blood unit to Unit 5A? You'll be coming through the telecom every other day. Like, it was full on.
Brian, what were you thinking when you were there and all this shit's going, how did I fuck my life up so badly? It's what I used to think all the time.
Yeah. So I'm like, I was thinking, how the fuck did this happen, right? I was just playing for the Tall Blacks. I could have gone to the Olympics. Now, so I had heaps of time to reflect, bro. And part of the thing that I came up with was I was definitely a bit of a follower, and that was probably because of the fact that I spent a lot of my childhood trying to fit in and be accepted and all that sort of stuff.
What about your daughter and your parents through all this? Did you see them?
My parents were amazing. No, I didn't have anyone come and see me when I was up in. So I was in Victorville. I was in Victorville Penitentiary, and I didn't have anyone visit me there because I didn't want anyone to come to that place. My mom was back in New Zealand by then. My daughter, I'd seen my daughter once when I was in FTC in Honolulu. She had come once with my dad, but yeah, no one came to visit me when I was in Victorville. But here's the other thing. So I thought I'd hit rock bottom, but that wasn't rock bottom, brother.
Shit.
Halfway through my sentence, my 3-year sentence, they tell me to roll up, Ross, go to R&D. So I'm like, what? Where am I going? Well, they fly me back to Hawaii. I'm like, what the hell am I doing back in Hawaii? Well, come to find out, I got a new charge. I got another charge, bro, they've charged me with. Possession and transfer of a machine gun. So a week before that guy's house got raided that I was in, I bumped into one of my mates, and he was about to get locked up in the state for, I think he was going to do 10 years or something. His girlfriend was pregnant at the time, so he was trying to make whatever money he could to leave with her while he went inside. And as we're talking, he brings up this machine gun, this piece of crap World War II machine gun that our friend Eric used to have, okay? This is a bit of a story. So my mate Eric, he had this machine gun. He had brought it up to my friend's house where I was staying for a while to see if it worked. We shot it, it worked. He took it away, I never saw it again. He gets busted by the feds a few months later, gets locked up, but has given the gun to his other friend to bury in his yard to get rid of it. Well, I met this other guy through Eric. That was another drug dealer. That he would.
It's this crowd that you keep when you're in that life phase.
I'm in this circle of everyone.
Bunch of fucking misfits.
Everyone is a misfit in this circle, bro. And I'm right in the middle of it, right? Anyway, this guy keeps calling me and asking me about this machine gun. I'm like, bro, that wasn't mine. That was Eric's, bro. I don't know where it is. Eric's locked up. Anyway, bump into Kapai. Kapai's like, I got that gun. It's buried in my yard. I know this guy that keeps wanting to buy it, bro. He keeps asking me about it. Do you want to sell it? He goes, yeah, I'll sell it, but I don't want to meet him. I was like, okay, sweet. I'll set it up. Call the guy, bro. Got the thing you're looking for. Da-da-da. He's like, okay, sweet. Kapai goes and hides it on the side of the road somewhere, calls me, tells me where it is. I call the guy, tell him where it is. He goes and picks it up. I never touch the gun. Don't even see it. He picks it up, sends the money Western Union to me. I go give the money to Kapai. Done. Well, that guy was working for the feds, and it set me up. And he had been out on the street working for the feds and doing whatever work they wanted him to do while I was already locked up. So they waited for him to do all the work that he had to do before they indicted everybody. So it was me. So this is like, I'm halfway through my 3-year sentence, and I'm back in Hawaii facing new charges. And bro, this is my rock bottom. I was like, oh my God, this can just keep going on and on. I've got no control over my life right now, you know? That's when I cried out to God, but that's when I hit my rock bottom, brother.
What was going through your head at rock bottom, that point?
I just, I felt like I had zero control over my life and what was happening. And like, there was nothing I could do. These guys just held all the cards, you know, and they could just keep doing this to me. The state done the same thing. I got convicted in the state. They waited till I pled guilty and I got convicted. I went to the feds. The feds charged me. Then the state recharged me again for something else, right? And then now the feds have recharged me again now. So now when I'm going to court for this new federal charge, I'm a career criminal now. Now, you know, the criminal history, now I'm a career criminal. I haven't even gotten out, bro. You know? It's just the way that they did it to me. They did me dirty. So now I'm facing like 9 years. The judge gives me a massive break, gives me 5 years to run consecutive of my 3 years. So, and then they send me back to the high security penitentiary again.
So you do all your time there?
So I had 2 months left on my 3-year sentence when I got sentenced to 5 more years.
Shit.
So that was devastating, bro. And then they sent me back to the high security penitentiary. I'm like, why am I here, first of all? Because they got camps, lows, mediums, and high. I go straight to the high.
What's the craziest thing you saw in there?
Oh, bro, I've seen guys trying to kill each other. You know, they're trying to kill each other, but they're also fighting for their life, bro. You know, it's primal, brother. You know, they're trying to stab the shit out of each other.
It really is, like, in there, it's survival of the fittest.
It's survival of the fittest, bro. And I saw a guy get stomped pretty much to death. Yeah. I saw a guy hogtied and dragged from one cell to the other where they were going to stab. You know, it's just violent, bro.
How did you make it through?
My gift is I'm able to adapt quite well. I'm able to become accepted pretty well. Yeah. You know? It's that blessing and a curse type thing. That thing that kind of made me a bit of a follower back in the day was also my biggest blessing as well. I was able to just adapt, and I didn't get involved in drugs. I didn't get involved in betting. I didn't get involved in anything that would lead to any sort of debt. I kept my nose clean. I just didn't participate in any of the things that were going on.
Yeah.
I didn't have a hustle. I didn't do any of that stuff. I just kind of, and I was lucky because sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes your number can be called, even if you're trying to not get involved in anything, sometimes you have to get involved in something. So if one of your homeboys comes in and we find out he's dirty, like he's testified or he's got some stuff on his paperwork that's no good and we got to get rid of him, like, hey, bro, you're up. You got to go take care of this dude. You got to do it. You can't be like, oh, nah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That didn't, I was so lucky that never happened to me. I kind of squeaked by, without that happening. So that was heavy. So they sent me back to the high. I go back there.
And after, so you finished the sentence, did you get deported back straight away?
Nah. So I finished I ended up doing my last 2 years in Phoenix. They sent me to a medium. Finally, I dropped down to a medium and do my final 2 years in Phoenix.
Was that like going to a holiday camp?
But that was like a holiday camp, bro. It was like Disneyland.
Yeah.
It was so cool. There was grass there. And
yeah.
there were a bit of weights.
Crazy when you think about it, eh? Like we went to one of the Spring Hill prison, working with the youth, and on our graduation, they were allowed out.
Yeah.
and it was just like they hadn't been on the grass.
Yeah.
And they were just freaking out about touching grass.
Yeah. I remember when I first got out, I walked up a hill. I was like, that's the first hill I've walked up in like 7 years, you know? Touching a tree. I was like, that's the first tree I've touched. But so I did 2 more years in Phoenix. And then my release date came finally, and I left in handcuffs with immigration.
School wasn't over.
No. So they took me to another facility, and it was just another jail, really. And
How long did you have to wait there?
I was there for 3 months, and that was fast track, bro. Like I was like, let's do this. You know, I wasn't even trying to fight it, you know.
So you finished your sentence, you've done your time, then you had to spend another 3 months.
3 months, bro. Yeah,
That surely doesn't take that long to organise a flight.
that's the quickest it could have been done. Because you got to go in front of an immigration judge. They got their own court system. They got their own entity. So, and there were guys there that had been there for 5 years, not wanting to go back to their countries, like, you know, Ghana or El Salvador. They're in there fighting their immigration. They're not being held on any charges, but they're just fighting the immigration. 5 years, bro. Because that's how bad they don't want to go back to their country. Their consulates wouldn't even answer their phone calls. I was lucky, bro. New Zealand's amazing. They knew who I was. They knew what was happening. Don't worry, we got your emergency travel documents in process right now. They're coming to you, yada, yada. But it took 3 months to go through the whole court system for all that to happen.
Yeah. So when did you move back here?
I flew back, it was September 2013.
So that's not far after I came. Before I came back 2014 with my tail between my legs.
Yeah. It was buzzy. Yeah, they flew me over. They escorted me all the way to the airport, handed me over to the airport police. And that was actually pretty cool. They were so cool compared to what I was used to.
Yeah.
You know? They're like, oh, fingerprints optional. I was like, optional? Yeah, nah. DNA optional. I was like, no, just get me out of here. Like, okay, we'll get you to your mom as quick as
And so have you stayed clean since then?
I've had a few relapses here and there. It just weighed too heavily on me, bro. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not worth it. And I was just like, I couldn't enjoy it put it that way, you know? Thankfully.
Yeah.
So I'm good now. But I definitely had a few tests.
How long have you been clean for now, brother?
I've been clean now for a few years.
Awesome,
yeah, easy, yeah. And like now, I don't even drink. I used to smoke a bit of weed and drink. Now I don't do any of that stuff now, you know?
How have you managed to do that, bro? Staying clean for this many years and staying on the path? What do you use if you get the urge, like if you get that feeling? What do you use to stop you?
For my faith now. My faith has been my anchor, bro. And I've only recently kind of came back to my faith. Like we were talking about earlier, 2025 was a rough year for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of things had kind of happened, and it just kind of it was just a really hard time. And I decided, I'm going to sit in this, and I'm going to allow myself to feel this, you know.
Yeah.
And it was hard, bro. It was super challenging, but sitting in it and allowing myself to feel that. I kind of had no choice but to really just lean back in on God again, bro.
Yeah.
I developed my faith when I was locked up, and that helped me get through hard out. And I kind of slipped away since I came home, you know. Wasn't really into the word. Distractions, you know, as it happens, you know, kind of fell off a bit. But recently I've really just leaned back in on God, and it's been so powerful, bro. And He's already working, bro. I can already see Him at work in my life, you know, already. I can't do it on my own, bro. I've proved to myself that I can't do it by myself. Yeah. Me by myself doesn't go well. Yeah. I need something bigger, higher than me to put my faith in and to rely on, you know, for that guidance. Yeah.
I mean, very similar, bro. I'm not religious, but I have a strong faith.
Yeah.
And I always think about the struggles, like the struggles that you've been through, struggles that I've been through, and different people I know. So I always think like that was God's plan for us. Yeah. You know, so that we in turn think we can learn from it, we understand it, and we then can help others go through it. You know, and it's just sometimes like how you say you can feel it working. Sometimes we don't know what the plan is. We just gotta follow that, trust in our faith and work. Sometimes people just pray and hope. Yeah. But, you know, we've also got to match that faith with work.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you have to put the effort in.
Yeah. So come back to 2013. What was the rebuild, bro?
I'd gotten a job in a gym. I went and got my PT cert. And it was pretty simple. I was helping my mate do a bit of coaching, age group basketball. And then I've learned and I've created a good work ethic now, which I didn't have back in the day. So now I work hard. I try and take care of myself. Gym is major for me. Taking care of myself physically, all that sort of thing is major for me. More mentally probably than physically, but it all kind of ties in with each other. And my family is amazing, bro. My family and my daughter lives here. So my daughter, wow. Bro. So yeah, check this out. God, bro. So I knew the whole time I'm locked up that I'm getting deported. And I'm like, there goes my relationship with my daughter. She's not going to want to leave Hawaii. She grew up in Hawaii, you know? Well, I get home. She comes and visits every year. And by the time she's 18, she's like, Dad, I think I want to move to New Zealand. I was like, well, shit, okay, let's do it. So she's been living here now for like the last 7 years, bro.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's, blessed.
Man, how's that feel, bro?
Great, bro. She's been such a blessing, bro, and she's been a big part of me being able to put my life back together, you know what I mean? Like, and I always say to her, I say, look, I've done an amazing job of showing you what not to do. So, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got no excuse. but she's amazing, bro. I learned so much from her, bro. And she's just recently given herself to Christ, hard out. She's deep in her faith, and so.
God is good, bro.
God is good, brother.
Man. And last year was a tough year, bro.
Tough year, bro.
What happened last year?
Last year, work was super sporadic. I'm a set builder. I build sets for the TV and movie industry, and work was just it was all over the place. So I went through long periods of no work, and there was just no work out there, even in the residential side of things, you know. I ended up moving back with my mom. Originally, because where I was staying, I was renting from my mate, and he was going to move back, so I moved back in with my mom, thinking I was going to find another place, but then work dried up, so I couldn't really move out of my mom's place. I was going through my savings. My relationship failed, that fell apart. And so I was just kind of left really just questioning myself, like, as a man, you know, like, it's hard. Well, I'm in my 50s, I'm broke. I basically don't have a job at the moment. I'm living with my mom. Again, I've just gone fully backwards, bro. And so that was really hard to deal with, bro, you know? So that's when I decided I'm just going to sit in this. I'm going to let myself feel this. And I just leaned back on God hard out and just did a lot of praying. And, he's already working, bro. He's already at work, bro. For me, being here is one thing, you know?
Yeah. You know, we released the episode last week of Manu Vatuve. Very similar story.
Yeah.
But he talked about, you know, being content and having, you know, he said, I don't have much now, but if I got a roof over my heads, my kids got a roof over my heads, we got food in our cupboards, I'm happy, I'm okay.
Yeah. That's one of the biggest blessings I think I've taken from prison is that perspective.
Yeah.
It's given me that perspective to where I can really appreciate the little things now, which to me is a massive gift because not a lot of people can do that. Like I said, walking up a hill for the first time. How many people have ever been, thankful that I'm walking up a hill, you know, touching a tree, the little things. And it's easy to get caught up in life and your everyday struggles and to forget about all that stuff, right? And get caught, this is all bad.
It's so true.
But I know what real darkness feels like. And even when I was going through this rough season, you know, recently, like I knew that, okay, this is rough, but this ain't rough. I know what rough is, you know? So I can allow myself to feel this right now and embrace it, bro. Because this ain't nothing compared to what I've been through. And that sort of perspective I find to be super powerful, you know?
Yeah.
And it's something I never want to forget.
Yeah, bro, we say it all the time in our thing, BBM, that greatness comes from the struggle.
Comes from the struggle, bro.
Don't be scared of it. don't be like you say, sit in it.
Yeah.
You know, don't be afraid.
Adversity is a privilege.
You know, just embrace it, man. Say that, come at me.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know, like I can look back in times in my life where God has gotten me through so many things. He's proven to me that He's going to get me through it. But it's in those moments to actually sit back and know that.
Yeah.
It's a challenge. It's hard sometimes. It's not easy to be like, nah. But that's the surrender. You know, you surrender. You put the work in, but you surrender it as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to carry it all.
Yeah.
Give it to Him.
What would you say to your 16-year-old self, bro? If you could say something, you're 56 now. What would you say to if you could go back in time? Say to that 16-year-old.
Pull your head out of your ass. Oh, kill your ego. Get rid of your ego. Nah, I would say I'd probably tell myself I would encourage myself to be my own man and to not be afraid of standing out or being different, you know? It's those types of things are a blessing. You don't need to fit in. You don't need to be like everyone else, bro. It's okay to be different, and it's okay to stand out, and just embrace that, you know?
Yeah. Do you still do personal training now?
No, I haven't done any personal training for a while.
Qualified?
I'm qualified, yeah.
Come do some work at our gym, BBM Ultimate Fitness.
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking about maybe helping people over 50. You know, I think it's a genre, it's a niche that
not many people are, and I'm 4 years away from it, so.
Yeah, bro. Well, there's been
I feel 1,000 though.
There's been so many times when I've been in the gym and I've watched these young PTs just smash these older people.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, what are you doing? It's different when you get to our age.
Yeah.
You got to take a different approach, bro. Completely different approach.
100%.
You got to let go of those heavy weights.
Let go of the ego.
Let go of the ego, brother.
That's what I do, let go of my ego.
Ego's gone, bro.
But last question, bro. I ask everyone that comes on, and I mean, you've lived a life, bro. It's been a roller coaster.
Yeah, roller coaster.
And bro, I honestly do think it's going to be a good year for you this year.
Cheers.
Even just us meeting, I'm thinking what we can do together as we're talking.
Yeah.
But what's your why, bro? You know, what's something that you draw on your faith? But, you know, for me, when I went through my stuff, my why was I think of being at the airport waiting for my kids.
Yeah.
You know, waiting to have my kids back, and the embrace of them at the end there, that feeling is what I'd use to get me through tough times.
Yeah.
To stop me from doing stupid shit when I had no money.
Yeah.
You know, what's yours?
I spent 7 years thinking about that day that I was going to see my daughter again. You know, every day I thought about that day. And I remember when that day happened, bro.
Yeah,
you know,
how good.
It's amazing. Yeah. And, you know, that's rare. You've thought about something for 7 years straight every day, and then it happens. That was so powerful. But that would definitely be one of my whys, would be I'd love to be a good example for her and to make her proud, you know. And obviously God would be a major reason, you know, a why. I think I want to get to a point where I can just maybe help others somehow, some way, you know, have a bit more purpose and let things be a bit more rewarding, you know. As far as what that looks like, I really don't have any idea. I know I've probably got a lot to offer. I've got a lot of experience, and I wouldn't say wisdom, but, you know, life experience. But yeah.
To anyone watching, because this is what this podcast is about, helping others.
Yeah.
You know, to anyone out there watching this that's, you know, in the depths of addiction.
Yeah.
Thinking it's impossible to get out. What would you say to them?
I would say the best thing you can do is to change your environment to somehow get out of where you are. I mean, that's easier said than done, right? But like, seek some help. You can't to do it on your own. Very, very difficult. Seek some help, and then try and get yourself somewhere away from the environment you're in. It just makes it that much easier, you know, to not be around that same sort of those same people, that same environment, as far as you making those changes that you need to make. But you need to want to do it, you know. That's where it all stems.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. If you're ready and you want to do it, and you can do it, but reach out. On your own, it's so hard.
That's so true. My friend, he tried so many times, but it wasn't him that wanted it.
Yeah.
It was us
that
wanted it for him.
Yeah.
And we'd put him in rehabs. But when he decided he wanted to change.
That's when it happens.
And I've never seen him better.
Yeah. And you gotta step back and have a real good look at your life. Is this really what you want in your life? Are you sick and tired of this shit yet? You know? Have you had enough? Because if you have had enough, then okay, you've had enough. Let's make some changes. Let's make some decisions. And let's call in some help, you know?
Yeah.
Get that help.
Yeah, well, brother, thank you so much for joining me. That's been amazing,
Thank
bro.
you, brother.
God bless you, brother.
God bless
and,
you.
man, some big plans for you, that's for sure.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Sure.
If you made it this far, thank you so much for the support. It really does mean so much to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and comment on our videos, and share this out. These stories are so inspiring, and they need to be heard by everyone. Thank you so much, team.